Hello again to another Agricolor Reaction. Today we have Eric with us because it's date night. Yay!
Awesome!
And
we are watching The Downfall of Plant-Based Milks by Futureproof. I like my almond milk.
You like your milks, yeah.
Yes.
That's why I decided to keep it for
I used to
the
drink
reaction with you.
Yes.
It's good as well.
I used to drink a lot of soy milk until I found out soy for men is not a good thing. Why isn't it good?
Well, not every soy. Some of the soy.
Yeah. I prefer not to have it. Not anymore. Used to drink a lot of soy milk. So I switched to almond milk.
Or are you just drinking powdered milk?
That too. A lot of choices of milk these days. Anyway.
Although most of those stuff, those plant ones, they can't be called milks here. If you notice, they're not called milk.
True. A drink or whatever they call them.
Milk alternative.
Yes.
Okay. Alright, let's see. Why is the downfall of them though?
When I was growing up, milk was just milk. And today we have seen a rise of alternative milks to the point where they have become a pretty normal option for the average North American consumer. But in the last couple of years, the exponential growth of this category has slowed to a crawl, and cow's milk is gaining in popularity again. Alright, so this is our second video taking a look at the plant-based food industry and how it is changing, because our first video was about the faux meat industry and how their seemingly inevitable rise to greatness was cut short in a pretty dramatic fashion. But in the researching of that video, we learned that the plant-based milk story is actually different in a few key ways. Now, in many ways, the stories of plant-based meats and milks are similar. Both have a history long before their modern mainstream success, with a variety of each that predate a lot of these modern inventions. Both started out as healthy alternatives or dietary options on the fringe of what mainstream consumers bought, and both found an explosive success in the mid to late 2010s with the impending climate crisis fueling a lot of their consumer demand. Yeah, almond milk, coconut milk, and many more have been around for centuries, but we've now seen them enter the mainstream amongst, namely, young people in the West as an everyday beverage option. Now, while the fake meat world has seen a definite and lasting drop in their numbers from their highs, plant-based milks aren't dying out, but they're not growing in the way that they were, and that has us wondering, what's going on? Let's hit you with some numbers. Today, 10% of the overall milk market is now plant-based. The aisles of grocery stores all across North America now feature milks from oats, almonds, cashews, macadamia nuts, hemp seeds, sesame seeds, peas, flax seeds, and more. Anything and everything that can be milked has at this point. And that felt weird saying that out loud. But another reason why these alternative milks have held on to their relevance is because it turns out a huge population of the world is lactose intolerant. Except for me, because I'm Dutch and milk just flows in my veins, I guess. But with the growing options of milk that are available to us today, what kind of milk that you drink matters more than ever. It is not so much about whether or not you're lactose intolerant, but a social indicator of the kind of person that you are. Now, this can be true of most purchases that we make in our modern consumer world, but the milk category has become a very interesting example, and of course it's being led by those bloody kids nowadays. The youth have embraced plant-based milk alternatives with their whole hearts, even being colloquially referred to as the not milk generation. It's a dastardly shame, isn't it?
Where does accent come from?
But the crazy part is, even within the plant-based milks, there's a hierarchy to which milk you drink. True environmentalists know that only oat milk will do because almond milk is worsening the drought in California, the cashew milk supply chain is riddled with ethical issues, and soy could honestly be an entire other video. And sadly, this is becoming more common. Social signaling is an exhausting and increasingly common thing in our consumer world today. We are social creatures, and so the way that we look, what we eat, and how we interact with each other is hugely important to how our culture evolves. But the fact that we're doing it with milk is something that I don't think anyone had on their bingo sheet. We talked about this dynamic and a bit more about the crazy convoluted social dynamics of this trend on our Patreon page.
Fake meat. We have a meat eater who's writing the script, and we have a vegan who's editing it. And so Lou and I are like stuck in between these two extremes.
If you want to see more content from us and support what we do, our Patreon has exclusive content, but you'll also be getting access to these videos before they go live, and you'll be able to help us do what we do for you free on the internet. Now, as a kid, as I mentioned, I remember sitting down to a big old glass of milk with just about every single meal. Nobody questioned what style or variety it was. We all just drank milk. But it turns out that this was not, of course, just a normal thing that humans did on their own. It was a product of a very successful ad campaign. You may remember the Got Milk ads. They were everywhere. Every celebrity and superstar in the late 90s and early 2000s sported a milk mustache in some magazine or TV ad to remind you that drinking milk was normal and it was cool. This campaign is largely regarded as one of the most iconic campaigns of all time. Those Got Milk ads were the brainchild of the dairy industry, aka Big Milk. And it is just a taste of the influence and power that this entity has over what we drink. Because the dairy lobby is powerful. Dairy farmers and their lobbying group, which is what we are going to be referring to when we say Big Milk, are political favorites. They have long raked in billions of dollars in direct subsidies, and Big Milk fights hard to maintain those benefits, spending more than $7 million a year on lobbying. These people have an incredible amount of influence in the politics of food in the US, and it shows. Here's the thing, cow's milk has significantly higher impacts than plant-based alternatives across all metrics. It causes about 3 times more greenhouse gas emissions, it uses 10 times as much land, and it uses 2 to 20 times as much fresh water. But you won't hear any of this from the government, and it is why the US Department of Agriculture has avoided pointing out the climate virtues of meat and dairy alternatives, and instead refers to the dairy industry as leading the way in sustainable innovation. There's that bloody accent again. Is it British?
It's trying to be.
Is it? So when plant-based milks entered the arena, it was truly the first time that the dairy industry had had a real opponent. And what did they do in response to this new player in their game? Well, they changed the rules by asking a simple question. What is milk, anyways? The question seems innocent, but it's secretly brilliant. The dairy industry, along with some members of Congress who may or may not be in the pockets of the dairy industry, had been pushing the US Food and Drug Administration to prohibit labeling plant-based products as milk. Big Milk's argument is basically plant-based milks are not milk because they do not come from a cow or a lactating animal of any kind. Now, they have some arguments that this is because of the health claims of plant-based milks or the confusion that may occur when consumers are presented with these new products. But the true reason is to establish themselves as milk and plant-based options as other. Never mind the fact that we've always called it coconut milk. No one has ever had a problem with it up until this point. It is a very devious tactic that would probably work, but hasn't quite yet. The FDA came back and said non-standardized foods like plant-based milks can legally be marketed with names that are established common usage, such as soy milk and almond milk. The FDA held some focus groups and found that Americans aren't confusing plant-based milk alternatives with cow's milk. In fact, many people are actually buying them because they're not milk. This revelation was a bit of a slap in the face to the dairy industry, who's basically been arguing that it was the opposite up until this point. The FDA did note, however, that consumers aren't so good at comparing the nutritional contents of milk alternatives with actual milk. In retaliation to this comes the Dairy Pride movement. Yes,
Jesus
you
Christ.
heard that right. The dairy industry groups rounded up members of the US House and Senate to push a bill called the Dairy Pride Act. They hoped this would force the FDA to issue new milk labeling guidances that would ban any non-dairy beverage from being labeled milk. And dairy lawmakers have pushed bills similar to this since 2017. And the thing is, the argument worked in Europe. In 2017, pressure from the dairy industry caused the European Court of Justice to rule that the term milk and other milk product names cannot be used to describe or market plant-based products. And even though they haven't won the title of the one milk to rule them all, their efforts seem to be working. Plant-based milks might have taken over grocery store aisles, but lately there have been whisperings about the possible return of the popularity of cow's milk. We found a bunch of TikToks about the oat milk backlash and that joke about people trading in oat milks for their former lover cow's milk.
Hi, Johnny. What?
I mean, I think they kind of right about the fact that milk is milk. If you think about milk, you're thinking about some breasts producing it.
Yeah.
And dairy and stuff like that. So I don't have a problem with that, and calling it milk alternative, it's not a big deal to me. But then I'm not a vegan, and I'm not the one who actually needs it. I'm not lactose intolerant, so I don't really have a problem with that. But for people that they actually have to kind of like rely on them, I mean, I could live without milk in general. I don't need milk. Like,
Well, the calcium.
no, but we don't get that from it.
From milk? Of course we do.
No, we don't.
At least in my mind we do. Because that's what I was taught.
Yes, but
Milk
that's
builds
you see.
strong bones.
You see where the big milk comes in, and how
Yes.
early in your age. Yeah, it's just we don't really the same thing. Drink milk and stuff like that for everything, but a lot of stuff that it's in milk, it's not doesn't get to our body. We just drink it and just out. The milk
Very
that
true. It
Yeah.
does flow faster.
yeah, and basically what the truth is that all those thing it's about the mother's milk. That's what's important in your early development and stuff like that. But later you don't really need milk that much. I might be obviously mistaken, but okay, just work. Unless you want to say something else in the defense of milk.
No defense in milk.
No? Okay. You do
I'm
love
not
milk,
paid
you
by
do
a
love
lobbyist.
milk.
I do love my milk.
Yeah.
I haven't drank it in a long time though.
Oh, well. Look who's come crawling back.
And according to a consumer behavior analyst, plant-based milk gallon sales actually fell by 7.2% in 2023. This drop in sales has been attributed in part to the price hikes related to inflation, but also rising consumer perceptions that plant-based milks are high in sugar and made with a long list of unfamiliar ingredients. Some consumers are turning their back on oat milk brands like Oatly and Planet Oats over scrutiny about their nutritional value, low protein contents, unpopular additives, and relatively high glycemic index. In March of 2024, Danone discontinued Silk, Next Milk, and So Delicious Wonder Milk. These products debuted in late 2021 and were meant to replicate the traits of milk: the taste, nutritional components, molecular composition, but in plant form. See, despite the long-term decline in the popularity of cow's milk, it still clearly dominates the market. Plant-based milks make up less than 15% of average weekly milk expenditures in 2023, according to data from Purdue University. Just over a year ago, plant-based milk's market share dipped by almost 1% between 2022 and 2023, while regular milk gained over 2%. This sort of suggests that cow's milk might be gaining popularity, especially amongst younger consumers. Now, partly because of dairy milk's lobbying power, alternative milks just can't compete with dairy on price. And that could ultimately be their downfall. Even as inflation hits the dairy prices on grocery store shelves, plant-based milks are still far more...
Sorry, I'm not used to it.
Eric never, what you call it in English? Milk the cow?
Yes. Have you milked a cow?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you were trying to say, oh, did you milk the cow? No. Yes, I did milk the cow. Both grandmothers had cows.
Yeah.
Although when I was a child, just one of my grandmothers, and I did milk the cow. It's nothing hard. The milk is delicious, by the way.
I bet.
straight from the
Just
udder.
not used to seeing stuff like that. You know, it comes in a
it's
jug
just-
and that's it.
He's such a American.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no, it's not in the bad way, but I think it's a lot of people from cities who didn't know that either. Like, unless you have someone in the family that you can go, like, because I like, I'm in the situation where I'm kind of like, I lived in the house with some land that my grandparents, because that was my grandparents' house, so they used to have cows before I was born. Then we had chickens as well and stuff. There was a little land, and there wasn't much, so they wouldn't be considered farmers, but there was enough land on it that we could grow some vegetables and stuff like that, and have animals as well. And we had buildings like for cows and pigs and stuff like that, because that's what my grandparents had. So my grandfather would work, but they would have those animals as well. It was just situation in Poland was much different. If you had that possibility, you had it and you did it. Because there was pretty much like, let's say, late 70s and 80s in Poland, you pretty much were going to the store. The stores were empty. I'm not saying like empty for something you were looking. No, the shelves were empty. Like literally, there was nothing. The people were still working, the stores were still open, but the stores were, shelves and stuff was literally empty. So if you could do it, you grew your own food. And because so I was living in a village that was literally next to the city, so I'm kind of consider myself kind of from village, kind of from the city, because literally 15 minutes walk and I was in the city, in the borders and stuff like that, and get into the bus and I'm in the center another 5 minutes later. But my dad's family, on the other hand, were farmers, so they had cows and stuff when I was growing up as well. So that would be something that I would do if I would be going for weeks at a time in summertime to my other grandmother and stuff like that. So that she had the cow, so we obviously would help her with the livestock. That's the word I was looking for, the livestock. So there were times when I did milk the cow. It wouldn't be often, but I would probably, if I be thrown into a situation right now to milk a cow, I wouldn't have a problem with doing it. I probably would take me a few minutes to kind of remember what's the movement and stuff like that, but eventually I would milk the cow.
I be the guy milking the bull. Yeah, can't tell which one's the cow and the bull.
Yeah, really?
Drinking bull's milk.
Yeah, well, I always kind of say that if someone can tell, remember that the udders are 4.
I'm sorry?
There's 4 udders,
Oh, okay.
not just one.
Yes.
Yeah. And the bull
has
have
one or two?
No. Bull have 1, but the bull have as well horns, unlike cows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Eric was trying to joke. Okay. Oh, did I forgot to? Or are we just talking over that?
Oh, I don't know.
Did I forgot to change the thing, the screen?
I don't know.
Oh,
Let's see
my.
at the end.
Oh, we'll see on the end, yeah. Something gonna have to put stuff in. Okay, let's see.
Just a picture.
If you are struggling to make your weekly grocery budget work, why pick up a dairy alternative unless you are lactose intolerant and literally can't drink anything else? So the truth is, we don't really know which direction this trend is going. We might be on the cusp of a massive oat milk downturn or a new normal that is being negotiated as we speak. One tip to that second idea is how the dairy industry has responded to the change in consumer habits. There is now expensive organic grass-fed milk and milk with added vitamins and omega-3s. There's even milk with added protein and milk for weight loss, drinkable yogurts for gut health and immunity. They have now invented milk for people who can't drink milk.
Yeah.
Lactose-free options and
I've seen that
A2
in
milk,
Poland.
which is made with a protein that is supposed to be more easily digestible, exists now. This sudden plethora of milk options on the market is a reaction from the dairy industry to capitalize on this moment where people are looking for something other than what they grew up chugging with every meal at dinner time. And this is maybe why plant-based milks haven't suffered in the way that fake meats have. Milks are a daily routine item rather than one that you buy here and there. But also because these options have become more normalized and treated equally in some places alongside their dairy counterparts. Oat milks and almond milks in particular are no longer an additional charge in many coffee shops, and the price of these plant-based milks are getting comparable or even cheaper than these new premium dairy milks that are available. Now, who will win the milk wars is yet to be decided, but thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked what you saw, remember to literally like it, subscribe if you want to see more content, because we release a video every single week.
Yeah. So, I said what I said about the milk.
I want a glass of milk now.
There's milk in the fridge. I
There
actually got some this week, yeah.
Yes.
And I was thinking about you and I got the light one.
Oh, nice.
Eric likes the light one, I like the full one. But I don't really drink
The
that
thick
much
one,
milk,
the
so...
full fat milk's just too thick. It feels like it's more.
I think it's creamy, I like cream.
Creamy,
So
yes,
to
that's
me it just tastes better. The light one is just like
Water?
water, yeah. With some flavor of milk. But still gonna drink it.
2% is what I drink.
But yeah, it's light.
Yeah.
Now you have 0.
Yeah. So I'll live with 1%. What they have here.
Oh, I think it's 2. I don't know.
I don't know.
It just says light in the... You have percentages in Poland on milk. Yeah, here does it even state?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It says-
We're gonna check it out
Yeah.
after we finish recording because it's kind of curious. I'm kind of
The
curious.
ball of the mind.
So, I remember when you moved in here, you were getting a lot of milk. You could just literally chug the whole 3-liter bottle.
Not
And
at once.
Well, yeah, but
I drink
within
a lot,
day,
but-
within a day, you would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
and
wouldn't
you
last long.
didn't- at the pure beginning, I think you didn't like the milk here.
Everything tastes different here.
Yeah, everything here, everything, meat and stuff like that, to you anyway. And then we went to States in 2020, and what happened there?
I didn't like the food there or the drinks. It tastes awkward. So I got used to the stuff here.
Yeah. Well, it is sad in my opinion. Yeah, anything else?
Nope.
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. I see you tomorrow and see you Eric next week. Bye!